Hi, Yael.
Hi, Paulina. How are you?
Hey, good. Nice to see you.
Thank
Apparently,
you.
we
You
saw
too.
each other at Sellerfest Israel, but we didn't actually shake hands or chat over
Yeah.
there.
Next time, next year, next
Next,
year.
next year, next time. Right. So you are a lawyer, is that right?
Right. Yeah.
What kind of lawyer are you?
I'm licensed in New York and in Israel, by the way. And I'm originally a trademark lawyer. I do intellectual property, copyrights, patents, trademarks, design patents. And in the last 4 years, I've been dealing with e-commerce issues and representing Amazon sellers. So my firm does IP and e-commerce law. That's what we focus on.
Okay, that sounds very applicable to what I'm gonna show you right now. So I'll share my screen and um, I'll show you something that is related to patent infringements. So yeah, here's
This
you,
is
by the way, on LinkedIn. I had your page open. So you were an investment banker?
Yes, I
Is that?
am. So I have my law firm, and I also own a company that handles sales of Amazon accounts. So if you want to
Mm.
sell your Amazon account, we help you finding a buyer and going through the entire process, transferring the account and everything from A to Z.
Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll show you today. I'll show you my process a little bit, how I find new products. So
Okay.
I usually go to 1688.com and let's say I'll just pick a random product. So I'm gonna say dog ball thrower, for example, and then we'll translate that to Chinese. Then I'm gonna copy that and put into 1688.com. And I'm gonna go and try to find now all the dog wall flowers that there is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just we turn that off. Okay, so there are some options that I already see, right? So for example, let's say this one, right? So we'll go into the listing. And now I usually just like check the price and everything. So it's yuan to USD.
Mm-hmm.
So it's $9 to buy that one. And then I would go to Amazon.com and I would check how much they go for. So dog ball thrower,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would see the price ranges. Usually I use some tools and things. So there's one option for $200, right? And
Yeah.
159, and it looks like I'm gonna buy it for $9 and sell it maybe for like this one. Look, here's the
Yeah.
one. And then I
Mm-hmm.
just looked at it here, right? It's so similar. It's not
Mm-hmm.
identical product,
Mm-hmm.
but it looks so similar. Maybe that one is actually identical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look at that. So that's the one, right here. And they're selling for $30 and they bought it for 9. Well, probably
Mm-hmm.
more if you buy more. So
Yeah.
that is my big question. Could I just remove this logo and ask the manufacturer to put a sticker over it or like put my logo? And I'm so worried about the patent infringement. Sometimes these are not really patented or copyrighted or trademarked. They are just items that have been developed by that manufacturer and they're not really, protected
Mm-hmm.
in any way. And then in that case, I could do something with that if that's a nice product for me to sell.
Mhm, mhm,
So,
mhm.
so I was hoping you could walk me through some process or some ideas what to do online next once I've
Mhm,
discovered some product, how to find or like where to look, that it's been patented already or not. Like, am I infringing anyone?
mhm. Okay. So I mean, it's a big question. It's a very important question for private labels. You don't see private label suspended for everything. You don't see them suspended for inauthentic or the regular suspensions that arbitrage seller gets. You see, when you see them suspended, it's usually for IP and it's very often for patents. And what you need, I mean, you need to understand some basic issues about IP, about the intellectual property. And once you understand them, I think you can minimize the risk at least by 50%. Okay, so it's not like you can for sure check for every product like you just showed me, check that 100% it's not patented. But if you do what I'm going to tell you, then you certainly minimize the risk. So let's start with patents, because you raised the patent issue. The patent issue is actually the most complex, and there are two types of patents. One type is the utility patent, and a utility patent is the regular patent that you and I know. It's for a certain technology, so it's not the shape of the product, but it's the technology behind the product, and it's quite broad. Okay, so if there's a patent over that product, even if you change the shape a little, it probably, I mean, the patents may cover it with even with a different shape. And then there's a design patent, which covers the specific shape of a product. So if, for example, you all know that product, the iPhone
Yes.
product. So this product is patented. I mean, the technology is patented, but they also have a design patent for the shape. So many people tell me, listen, I've been selling that product. There are dozens of sellers selling that product. I was suspended by Apple, but I didn't write Apple on my product. It's not counterfeit. I'm not trying to say that I'm selling the Apple product. So you need to remember, and in the case of Apple, by the way, they're usually suspended for design patent. But you're copying the same design, okay, the exact same shape of the product, and then you write Paulina on it. That's not allowed. I mean, even if you're not infringing their trademark, we agree, because you didn't use their trademark, right? But you did infringe their design patent because they registered the shape of this particular product. So when you're a private label, if you're copying, because that's what you do, if you're taking an existing product and you just change it to your own brand, you need to make sure there's no patent on that product. Now, many products today have a patent. Actually, I would say that most of the large companies do have a patent. So, and then you'll ask me, so what do all the private labels do? I mean, this is the whole concept of private label is taking an existing product and then copying it and then putting your own label, right? And another question people ask is, how come there are 40 other sellers and I was suspended? What about all the others? The answer is that the brands and those who register the patent, they try to enforce. They can't enforce everything. They can't remove everybody all the time. People are popping up again and again. They're trying to clean the market. Sometimes, by the way, Amazon doesn't really cooperate because it's not exactly the same. Okay. So you need to know that the fact that you've been removed and others not doesn't really help you, okay? Because if you've been removed, and we need to handle that. If you see many others sell, like you just showed me, okay, that you see somebody else selling it, then you'll say, okay, he's there, there's no patent. That's not true, okay? You can't rely on it. On the other hand, if there's a product on Alibaba that sells well, and there's not even one seller on Amazon selling it, it may say that there's a patent. Okay, so be careful if there's nobody there, and if you see 200 sellers, then maybe there's a patent, but probably right now the patent holder doesn't enforce it because there are many sellers, right? He's probably not aggressive. But that's all I can tell you, right? I mean, it is a hint, but it's not definitive. It doesn't really say. So what do we do to understand if there's a patent or not? It takes more than 5 minutes, more than what you just showed me. What we usually do is a little research first on the product. So, for example, if you found that particular product, I would try and research on Google who was the first company to design that product. Who's the largest seller? Okay, usually on a Google search you can understand who's the main actor selling that product. If, for example, we found that, I don't know, Nike is the one selling that product. Then I would go to Google Patents. Okay, there's actually a database made by Google named Google Patents.
Wait, let me open then on that. Okay,
Yeah.
so wait, so first you said you would make sure that who's the most prominent one. So I guess
So that requires some time because you need to write the name of the product, right? And then search on Google for a while until you find the largest seller of that product. Once you found it,
just a minute. So I guess I would do it with the reverse image search, maybe, hopefully. I don't know how to.
That sometimes helps. That sometimes helps.
Because now I see on Spain, Italy, Rakuten, they're like selling this everywhere.
Yeah, I usually try to find a website of an actual company.
Because they all look like, they all look like just resellers, and seems like a popular. There's no origin.
Right. So there are several things you need to do when you search for it. By the way, I always tell my clients, start by asking your supplier. Okay. So again, it doesn't, if the supplier says there's no patent, all right. But it doesn't say that there's no patent, right? Because he didn't do the research. But very often my client gets suspended. It goes back to the supplier, and then the supplier says, oh yeah, there's a patent. Why didn't you say that in the first place? And they're like, why didn't you ask? You didn't ask, so I didn't say. So, always ask your supplier, is there a patent? Have you been involved in any patent issue? Has any of your clients have any patent issue? Do you know who's the main company selling that? Okay, ask your supplier as many questions as you can, okay? So that's the first thing you need to do, to try to locate the first company to sell that product. Sometimes it's a Chinese seller, okay, and that's great, okay, because in those cases sometimes there's no patent, and that's great. That's exactly what you want, right? But if it's a serious product that was actually designed in the States, then you'll find the main seller, okay?
Okay.
As I told you, it doesn't take 1 second. It usually takes about half an hour, to locate the real seller. Okay. So once you located the company, okay, let's say it's not a Chinese made design, okay, but it's a US made design, and you found the company. So you go to Google Patents, type Google Patents, right?
Okay.
And then here, that's a Google made for searching patents. You can search here, right? So you can search here for patents of particular company. Like if you write Nike or whatever.
So let me go back to my example and find a bigger brand that has that. So brand iFetch is a popular one.
Mm-hmm.
So let me go to that then.
You can write iFetch. Let's see if it pops up.
Okay.
There you go. Automatic ball launcher. There's one. You see it?
Okay. So
the first one.
So now there's so many different ones though, because like you said, the shape sometimes could be the design patent, and how do I specifically
look at the first, type on the first one. I want to show you something. I was talking about the difference between design patent and patents, okay? This is a design patent. Why? Okay. Because you see only images, and if you look here, you see USD. You see on the blue part, you see USD 79. You look at the number. You see that it starts with USD. It means US design patent.
Here. Okay.
US design patent. And there's a real difference. You don't see a lot of text. You only see images. That means that the only thing that's protected here is the shape. If you do a different shape, okay, you're good. Okay, you can see here the patent. That's how it looks like. That's a perfect example of a design patent. Now let's go back to the list.
Mine sort of looked like that almost, I almost the same.
We actually found it, right? It's round. Let's look at yours. Go back to yours.
Mine was, this one.
Also, It's a little square, right? It's
Wait,
a little
was
bit
it that
bigger.
one? No, now I mixed up because they all look very similar. And
Yeah,
this one right
yeah.
here, and then this guy. It just looks so similar. I can't like risk it,
So
right?
you need to put I would put them one next to the other to compare. Go back and put it next to yours so you can compare it, right? Um,
There's like
and
the back of it as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
do
so
you
I
know how
guess
to compare images? Um, it's pretty similar. It's pretty similar. But I would what I do is
no.
I put
Compare
put them
images?
one.
Tell me.
Yeah, you just can I take over? No, I can't take
No,
over.
but no, you can't. You could share your screen now. So tell me how to do it. I wish to know.
Yeah, I mean, just minimize, just take out this particular, the pattern, take it out and minimize your window, right?
You
Take it
mean,
out,
oh, just
minimize
like,
that.
just have two pictures next to each other, you mean, right?
Yeah, just yeah,
All right, so I'll just pull it up because in the patent, it wants to open with the,
yeah.
so let's
So,
open with with an
so
app.
let me continue. So we're, let's say that that you found that one. So that's a design patent. Now Let's go back for a minute to the list of patents on Google Patents. Go back to the Google Patents example.
Okay, so I was on Google
Yeah,
Patents
here.
right here.
So you see that the first one, as I told you, it starts with USD, right? I mean, you can see google.com, patents, USD. It means that it was registered in the US, which is your market, obviously. And it starts with D, so it's a design patent. Now, the next one, it's US, and then there's a number. That's a utility number. If you'll click on it, just click on it, you'll see that it's much more complicated to understand, and the images are only for illustration purposes. So, some of my clients tell me, "What? I was suspended, but the images look different." It doesn't matter. What you claim here, if you scroll down more, just scroll down more until the text stop. Scroll down a little. Scroll more. There's a part that says more, that says what is, stop here, go back up. You see on the right, it says claim one. You see here on the right, claim one, a ball launching apparatus comprising of, that is the patent, okay? That is the patent. And if that's the part, I need to see, it usually starts with what is claimed, so I need to look carefully. But basically, you'll see claims, and it explains what the patent is. It's really difficult for the layman person to really understand a utility patent. So if you were suspended for a utility patent, you would probably want to take a patent attorney to check if you've been infringing or not. Okay, so if you've been infringing, you should probably try and negotiate some kind of license with the patent holder. Okay, if you're already selling and you were suspended, and if you're not infringing, then you should definitely try and appeal with Amazon. Okay, so usually what we do is we prepare some kind of opinion explaining why it's not infringing, if it's not infringing, and then we submit it to Amazon, and then we reinstate the listing. So as I said, I mean, you saw it yourself. It's funny that we found it. Sometimes it's really easy to find it. And you know what? When my clients are suspended, it takes them about 10 minutes, just like we did, to find the right pattern, right? But before that, they say, I can't find it. I don't know how to find it. So just sometimes you need to invest like half an hour, even an hour, and then you minimize your risk substantially, right? That's about patents.
I'm curious about because I guess not all things are easily patentable in terms of utility. For example, I sell handbags and purses and backpacks. So if it's just a simple backpack that looks like 1,000 other backpacks, and the difference is color and pattern, it's nothing patentable, right?
No,
it's
so
just
I'll
for
explain.
those.
So so you're raising a very important issue about patterns. We spoke about patents, right? we didn't speak about copyright. So many people confuse that. I was suspended for copyright, and then I look at it and I see a patent, or, they were suspended for patents and they say copyright. Some people call intellectual property in general, they call it copyright. Copyright protects text, they protect images. Okay, so if you were, if people removed your image, that's because of copyright. And it protects graphic designs, which means patterns. Okay, so if, for example, I'm selling a bag, okay, a real cool bag with images of funny horses, okay, and then you do your own design of a bag, but you decided to take the same pattern that that my graphic design took with the same funny horses. I can remove your listing in 2 minutes. Okay, why? Even without any registration. Why? Because when you used my graphic design, you infringed my copyright. Okay, and it's just like think of an artist, okay, drawing some picture or drawing a painting. They have copyrights. The minute they created that particular painting, they have copyrights. So it's the same with graphic design. So you need to be careful, and that's one. I think it's the most important point of the whole, of our whole conversation. Never, ever, never, ever copy someone else's graphic design. It is so easy to remove your listing, and it happens a lot with people selling, plates with a certain design, or scarves, or all the fashion industry. People just copy the same thing. Even textile for babies, bibs or things like that. People just they copy what they see, or sometimes the supplier says it's my design, which is not true. They it's probably the design of one of their clients who doesn't work with them anymore, and very often they just continue selling it, and then boom, you're suspended. I mean, you bought 500 products and then you're suspended, and there's nothing you can do because that's on your product. Okay, we can't just remove it from the listing. So if there's one thing I'm trying to teach all the time is stay away from others' graphic design, other people's patterns. And also never take someone else's photo. Okay, sometimes again the supplier says that's my photo, you can use it, but very often it's not his photo. Okay, I had a case where somebody was suspended and actually got a lawsuit because he used a photo where there was the baby of one of the suppliers, clients. So she was really mad because the baby was on that part. Yeah. So be careful. Never use. I mean, always take your own photographer. If you need a pattern, then just use somebody from Fiverr. It's not really expensive, and make sure it's your own and not somebody else's.
So this copyright, I had a product in the beginning when I just started my Amazon career, and I thought that I have to register copyright for every one of them. And I did submit some strange place where I paid a little bit, and it was like image copyright. But then I found out that you sort of don't really need to file it. It's automatically yours. Is that true then?
Yeah. So let me explain. If you did register it with the Copyrights Office in the States, and not just some random
yes,
website.
It was. Yes.
Right. It was $55. You're right.
Something like that.
Yeah. So if you ever want to sue someone for copyright infringement, you do need that registration. Okay. But if you just want to remove it from Amazon and like file a takedown complaint, you don't need that registration. Okay. Amazon does like it. If you do provide a registration, it's easier, it's faster, but you can do it without it. So it's not necessary to register your images. Okay. There's actually, by the way, many people misuse those registration, because what happens is that when you register, there's a title, and it's not like the U.S. Design Office or U.S. Trademark Office where you can look for it and find it and see the design. On copyrights, if you look at the database, you'll see the name of the owner, you'll see the title, right? but nothing else. You don't see the actual design. So what people do, I mean, very often, and we try to fight it all the time, is they register one thing and then they use it for whatever, for everything, and they just tell Amazon, he's being infringing my copyright. Here's my certificate. It's actually in his name, but it's for something else. I mean, completely different thing. And Amazon doesn't check because they cannot check online. So there's a lot of misuse of the copyright registration. And again, if you have an important product that you design, I do recommend a registration because it's really cheap and fast, so that you can sue if you really need it. But it's not a requirement. Okay, you can proceed without it.
Okay, that's good to know. So in general, when a person comes to you, if I would come to you, do you actually do that search a little bit? Because the search has to be so extensive. I don't know. Do you take the responsibility to say that, yes, it's safe to private label this product? Like, do you actually do consulting like that?
I mean, we try. We don't provide like an opinion. It would take hours to write an actual real opinion that you could use. But we do provide the search services. Of course, you can do it for every product. Take a lawyer and have a lawyer check it. Some people have dozens of ASINs, and when they just start, it's an expense. But again, let me tell you, if you do what I told you, and you do a research, you at least try to do a research and check if there's a patent over this product, you'll see that you can discover a lot of things. And if you avoid copyright infringement, if you avoid using other people's pattern, you reduce 50% of the cases we have. So that's you can do it yourself. You can, of course, use professionals. But I think it's important to do it when you're gonna order a large, for example, a large order. If you're gonna order 10,000 products and it's like only the second time you do it, you may want to check beforehand.
I wonder what happens if Amazon gets a claim of copyright or something and they suspend your listing. I wonder what happens to inventory. Do I get it back or they just keep it? Do you know?
You can. Yeah, you can remove it. I mean, at some point they'll tell you, please remove your inventory or we'll destroy it. So yeah, you need to remove it and stop selling it. And I mean, it's a stain on your account. It will be there. They will know. And you probably heard that in the last few weeks, there has been a lot of account suspensions based on just one or two ASINs suspended for IP. Ed Rosenberg has been talking a lot about that and trying to stop that. So we see large sellers of millions of dollars suspended only for like 3-4 ASIN suspensions. So so it's something that again, we're trying to educate. Even with trademarks, by the way, we haven't discussed trademarks, but there are a lot of trademark suspensions as well. Like many people use certain names and they think it's a generic name, and then they get suspended. For example, Velcro. Velcro is a good example. There are dozens of suspensions of Velcro. People use it because they think it's a generic term, and then when they're suspended, they find out that it's a trademark of a certain company.
Is it?
Yeah.
I guess it's like Kleenex for tissues. Like everybody got used to saying.
Okay. Exactly. Wow. It became genericized. So what we do is, of course, I mean, if it happens to you, you need to remove that trademark immediately and explain that you didn't know and that you're going to do a search next time. But be careful what you put on your listing. And when you choose a trademark, and that's also something very important, because private label, what do they have? They usually don't have a patent usually because they didn't invent the product, and I'm going to talk about that. And their main asset is their trademark, right? I mean, their main asset is their brand. So at some point, private labels want to trademark their brand, right? Because there's the brand registry, everybody wants that. But very often we find that they choose a name that's just not registrable because it's taken. Okay, so even if they weren't suspended because nobody complained, the trademark is taken and we can't trademark it. So,
but usually, if it's, I think it's a. Isn't it that it has to be in a specific category? Like if I want a specific name and I look up, I don't know, let's go back to my
let's
browser.
do it because I want to show something, right?
Okay, so trademark, we will see, I don't know what's the website, so I just search like that. Okay, so that's USPTO.
Just go on, here, press trademarks, first one searching trademarks. And then the first one, search our trademark database, right? And then go to the first one, the basic. Okay. Now, so first of all, you have on the left live and dead. Just choose live because dead trademarks we're not interested. Okay, so dead trademarks are not interesting. We don't want to see them because they don't stop you. So yes, take that name for example. So they're all live, and if you press on one of them. Just press on one of them. You'll see that you have, so the trademark is tactician, right? And it's registered in relation to software program, utilizing geographic and other database, blah, blah. It's probably not the trademark, the what you're selling on Amazon. So you're probably okay. So if you're selling the ball thrower that we were talking before, that's not a problem at all. Okay,
so that means all of these people are already, they have trademarks, the same trademark, but they are just in different categories. So if I'm selling backpacks, tactician backpacks, then I could actually, if nobody else has backpacks, I could be one of them, right?
Right. So backpacks or other things in the category of backpacks, okay?
But so what about, I'm sorry, but
for example, wallets, and backpacks are sometimes I mean they see it as connected. The question in trademarks, you need to remember, the question in trademark is it confusingly similar? What do I mean by confusingly similar? If I'm selling cars under the brand Boga, and then you're selling food under the name Boga, it's probably not confusingly similar because it's completely different fields. People will not think that the same company has sold the two products. If I'm selling potatoes under the name Boga and you're selling tomatoes, it's not the same product, but people will think it's the same company selling the two things, right? If I'm now let's go to something else. If I'm selling
flashlights here,
accessories. If I'm selling jewelries under the name Boga, and you're selling T-shirts, it's actually not the same categories in trademarks, but it's deemed related. It's people see it as related, and the examiner will think, hey, it's sold in the same place, and our consumers can be confused to believe that the same company is selling jewelries and now it's selling T-shirts. So when you do the search, two things you need to remember. One is the category. If it's a different category, not relevant. If it's the same category or related, think about the confusion. If it's related, then it's a problem. Second thing you need to think about, and people never think about it, is confusingly similar in the sense of how it sounds and how it looks like. If your brand is shopkeeper, just behind you, and then I'm gonna provide similar services with the name shopkeep. Is that an infringement?
That's the thing. When I was trying to register trademark, my trademark attorney, she found so many similar names, and that's why I'm now wondering why would tactician work when she has so many similar names like shopkeeper and then my Amazon brand as well? She found like all this list of different spellings and misspellings on what I wanted.
Right.
So how come that matters? And then you're saying that all these tacticians that are registered right now would not be an issue, if I am a different category.
So if it's a completely different category, remember, there's no confusion. People will not think that the person selling cars sells tomato, okay? I mean, this is how the world works. I mean, they can be they can be the Time magazine and they can be Time cigarettes. It doesn't matter. People do not get confused. But if I'm Nike and then the next day you open a store with Nike, okay? Just Nika. Will people be confused? Probably some of them, okay? So, or if you open a shop with Nikes with an S, will people be confused? Obviously. So the examiners on trademarks, they look at how it sounds, how it looks like, and in the example that I gave you, shopkeep versus shopkeeper in the same field, okay? Both providing services to Amazon sellers. Obviously, there's a confusion. Okay, so if you manage to register the trademark shopkeeper in a specific category, you will be protected for this name and any similar name. Okay, so going back to the database, if you want to open it again, when you're looking for BOGA. Okay, if my trademark is BOGA. Go back to the page before that.
Okay.
So you can write, for example, Boga or Bog or Bogi or Bogu. I would try, some similar combinations to see if it's if we found something in the same category. Now we, of course, lawyers, they don't use this simple tool because otherwise you would have to look at hundreds of trademarks. So we use some more complex tools and we actually tell them, listen, I want everything starting with BOG, B-O-G, and I want it live and I want it in a particular category. Okay, don't show me shoes. I want to see only things that are related to food. Okay, so I would tell them, show me only those in category 30, so that you won't have to review hundreds of results. When you do the search yourself, if you want to do it yourself, then unfortunately you have to review a lot of results that are sometimes not relevant. Okay, or you can learn how to how to combine it with a certain class, but that's for advanced searches.
Yeah, because you were right. This shopkeeper exactly was the problem, right? So that was shopkeeper.
Is that the first one? Is your trademark?
No, it's actually somebody else who has an accounting software because so it wasn't,
Wine. This is wine, for
actually.
example. That's not an issue, right?
The shopkeepers, I think. Online
journals, blogs, full of human interest.
We are looking at live ones, but there were a few dead ones that was the like a software, exactly what I was doing. So I guess once they're dead, they are not considered anymore.
That is not preventing you from registering your trademark unless they're still using it in commerce. Okay, so you see a dead one. And it's not on Google and they're not using it, so it's abandoned. I mean, it's not preventing you from obtaining a trademark. Okay,
great. All
right. There may be a chance here with your trademark.
There may be.
Based on what I see
to do it. Yeah, it's pretty tough word. Yeah, it's generic. So there's a lot.
Something else that you need to remember as well when you choose a name. I'm always trying to tell my clients, when you choose a name, don't choose generic names. Okay, for example, some people sell phone holders. Okay, so and then they come to me, I want to register great phone holders. I'm like, this is generic. You will never get that. Why? Because the examiner doesn't want to give you monopoly over a certain name that everybody uses in your field, right? If you get great font holders, then nobody else will be able to use that expression. Okay,
Right.
so don't choose generic names. What you can do is choose a brand together with generic name. For example, Boga phone holders, that's fine, okay? Because we have one unique name, Boga, and then we have the additional generic names which will be disclaimed, so it's fine. As long as you have, you have Boga on it and it's a unique name, then you'll be fine. Phone holders by himself cannot be registered, obviously. Okay, so always remember with trademarks, do a search. Make sure you're looking at confusingly similar names, okay? Not only your particular name and the way it's written, okay? Even if yours is with two T's, and there's one with one T, okay, that's a problem. And also do not choose completely generic names.
Okay. Israeli tactics. Oh, yeah, okay. So, yeah, I guess this is more extensive than I thought, to search for confusingly similar names, because you have to think of so many different variations of how the name would be misspelled or something. So what do you use? Like, what do you
I use, if you go back to the other page, we can use, there's the free form, the third one. If you use the third one, and for example, here you can do let's go to Boga, okay, B-O-G, do B-O-G and then a star. That means everything starting with Boga, and then you have to do the brackets you have on the bottom the explanation about all the indexes. For example, if you do the brackets with BI, it means basic index, it means trademark. So now if you do the brackets and then BI and then close it, remove the space after your star. This means a search for me, every trademark that is registered and starts with BOG, okay? Now, if you want to add a particular class, okay, particular category, let's say, for example, I want to add the kitchen category. So I would do A-N-D, right? Space A-N-D, right? And then 021. And then brackets, I would do IC, which means international class. It's not rocket science. I mean,
it is almost.
I told you it's boring and very legal, but so if you, remove the space after the one, and then if you search right now just to submit, you'll see all the trademarks, live and dead, starting with BOG in the 21st category. So press on one of them, for example. You see it's on class 21.
Where do you see the class?
Class 21, IC 21. That's the kitchen category.
Okay? Here. Okay,
Yeah,
so where is the list of all these categories that I could look up? Is it on this?
Yeah, if you Google list of international classes, trademarks, there's the list. Wow, you're really a professional. You go deep into the.
I just want to know because I'm gonna do it. Right?
Yeah, you press on that one. It explains. Here you have all the classes.
Okay. And then you could actually put that number in with the 0 in front, I think, right?
Yeah.
No, you
exactly.
you put 0 in front.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Oh wow.
So that will help you doing the trademark search.
This is great. Yeah, thank you so much. It's been almost more than half an hour that we are chatting, so I don't want to take up more of your time. This is super, super useful. Thank you. I love the practical tips. It's very.
I can see that. We even found the patent on your product, so.
Yes.
Don't sell it.
Yeah, so I will keep looking for another ideas.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, so if people want to connect with you, how can they find you? Where can they find you?
Just Google Yael Cabilly. You'll get to our website, or our email. Cabilly, yeah, 2L and Y, right?
eCommerce.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, exactly. That's our website. Um,
Oh,
so
nice.
you can Google here. Yeah, that's our Amazon guy.
Yeah, he's next to Amazon boxes. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's nice they don't say Amazon, but we all know what it is.
Exactly. Well, we're lawyers, right? I mean, I
Yeah,
won't use Amazon's name.
that's true.
Um, yeah, so feel free to speak with us, and we can help on IP issues, contracts, everything related to Amazon.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure
Thank
chatting with you
you.
today.
Thanks. It was fun. Thank you, Paulina.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.